The Lifestylist, Episode 120, featuring Elian Zach.
I'm Luke Story, a former celebrity fashion stylist and founder of School of Style. For the past 20 years, I've been relentlessly dedicated to my deepest passion, designing the ultimate lifestyle based on the most powerful principles of health and spirituality. The Lifestylist Podcast is a show dedicated to sharing my discoveries and the experts behind them with you. You're listening to part 2 of 2 with Elian Zach. All right, you guys, I need to take a moment to tell you about the amp coil. This is the device in health and healing that I am most excited about. This is the coolest thing I've seen to come along in quite a while. What is the amp coil? It's a self-healing, energy-based device that you use to take care of your mind, body, and spirit. So the amp coil combines 5 very powerful pieces of technology. One is bioresonance, biofeedback, Tesla technology, PEMF, and sound and vibration. So this is a game changer that you've got to check out. It's the first PEMF device with customization and biofeedback voice analysis. It's really easy to use and learn, whereas some of these devices can be very confusing. When you detox using the amp coil, which is one of its main applications, they've written programs to make it really gentle. You can neutralize microbes and metals and toxins and really fix the bioterrain within your body. And it's a passive activity. Like when you use the amp coil, you're just chilling. It's very relaxing. It feels really good. I don't know. It's just awesome. So I want you to go back and check out episode number 98 with the founders, Aaron and Geneva. And then just get over to ampcoil.com and check it out. It's a family-owned business. They're very helpful, very knowledgeable. You can just literally call them on the phone and they'll talk to you immediately and answer your questions. So go to ampcoil.com if you want to find out more. This show is brought to you by my friends over at Clearlight Saunas, and I want to give you the opportunity here to save a considerable amount of cash if you're interested in purchasing an infrared sauna. If you go to healwithheat.com and enter the code Luke, you're going to save $450 as well as receive free shipping and a free ergonomic backrest to use in the sauna. So you can go to healwithheat.com, use the code Luke, or just give them a call. They're super cool people. It's a family-run business. You can call them at 800-317-5070. Now, why do I use an infrared sauna? Okay, let me just get into that. I use it for weight loss and increased metabolism. So basically, I'm losing weight, burning calories from just sitting on my ass in the sauna. This is, scientifically verifiable. And I know it sounds too good to be true, but it's not. Muscle pain relief, immune system boosting, massive detoxification, improves the appearance of my skin, eases joint pain and stiffness, and it's just really good for stress and fatigue reduction. When you chill in an infrared sauna, after about 5 minutes, what happens is you go into a parasympathetic nervous system state, which means you are cold chilling. So it's just really good for relaxation. Now, if you want to learn more about saunas in general, I'm going to suggest that you go back to my episode number 24, because the whole damn episode is about infrared saunas, okay? So again, if this is something you're looking into, I think they're the best in the market. They've got indoor and outdoor models starting at $24.95. They're very reasonable, really high quality. And again, if you use the code Luke, you're going to save $450 off your purchase, free shipping, and a free gift by going to healwithheat.com or giving them a ring at 800-317-5070. Man, oh man, It's 2018 is turning out to be a kick-ass year, you guys. My name's Luke Story, and I'm here to bring you another episode of the Lifestylist Podcast. Today's show is all about the psychedelics of sound, breath, and vibration, man. We're getting into some heavy vibes with our guest, Elian Zach, who's the co-founder of the Woom Center in New York City, where this interview was recorded. I found out about the Woom Center through a listener, actually. I think it was a direct message. When I was in New York City, hey, you got to check this place out. I'm like, yeah. I get a lot of recommendations, but I was driven over there by my intuition. And the Woom Center is insane. They do yoga, meditation, and all of their teachings and experiences are primarily based on the therapeutic properties of sound vibration. So they do these things called sound experiences, which you'll hear a lot about in this episode, but they are super powerful and trippy and right up my alley. So when I went to Woom Center and had one of these experiences led by Elian and her husband David, I had to get to the people behind this and find out what the hell was going on, because that's my job. That's my job, to find these things and then deliver them to you. So I want to encourage you. Next time you're in New York City, definitely check out the Woom Center. That's spelled WOOM, as we talk about in the episode. So it's really rad stuff. This is, of course, a double episode because the conversation went on, I think, for 2.5 hours. It was lit. It was super lit, okay? Here's what we cover in this double episode. All the natural means by which humans can explore their senses and consciousness. The types of breath work and how each one of them affect you. LSD research and holotropic breathing. The role of drugs and plant medicines in spiritual pursuit. Do they work or not, and what are the risks? We are going to get to the bottom of that question. The truth about Burning Man and why people keep going. Elian and David are huge burners, and in fact, that's where, the Woom Center and what they do was really conceptualized. So we find out, what's the deal with that? Now, if you're a burner already, you get it. Me, personally, I don't get it. I've never been. I don't understand why you'd want to be out there in the hot-ass desert with those weird goggles on and shit. But we're going to find out why. It sounds pretty cool. And she goes deep into it. So that's going to be a very interesting piece for those of you that haven't been. And those of you that have, you probably run into her over there. All right. Then the different breathing patterns as they related to yoga and how they help remove past trauma and negative emotions, something I've experienced a lot of. And then the drugs your body actually naturally makes during breath work. The power of vocal meditation and harmonizing in a group. Then we really sum up the consciousness movement as it currently stands in New York City and how excited we are about it. There is just so much going on there, and Elian shares my enthusiasm and gives some great tips on some other things to check out in the city. And then finally, we close with some information about Kabbalah and how that's had an effect on Elian's life and her work. So this is a deeply entertaining, fun, spiritual, super trippy, out there episode, and I'm really excited to bring this one to you from New York City with Elian Zach.
So at what point did you decide to mix the sound experience here with the breath work? And then another trippy thing you guys do, and I want to see how this came in, is this sort of vocal harmonizing that's done with the group, which I've actually never experienced in that formal sense. I've sung a lot of mantra with a group of people, which is very powerful, but this is not words in Sanskrit or any other language. This is just like everyone humming and kind of tuning into this resonant note. How did you get the idea to kind of marry all that together? And was it something that gradually came together? Or did you just go, aha, I'm going to do it this way, and you guys built your sound experience?
No, it gradually came together. So let me take you to the very beginning of how sound became a thing for us.
Okay, cool.
I was at a party in Brooklyn, and I was not sober, but I was not right in the a very.
I like that. I was not sober, but I was not high.
I was not sober.
Gotcha.
That's all I'll say.
Gotcha.
And I saw this friend sitting on a subwoofer. The music was unbelievable. So I came over and I said, "Dude, what are you doing? How can you be sitting down?" He said, "Yeah, I have sciatica in my back. I can't. My doctor actually told me not to leave bed, but I had to listen to this DJ, so I'm here sitting on the subwoofer." So I'm like, "Okay, scooch over. I want to experience this party the way you are." So he moves over, and I sit. And as we were talking before, there is, if you consume substance in a ceremonial setting, and if you decide that coming to listen to a beautiful musician is a ceremonial setting, then it may open some portals for you. And portals indeed were open for me. I sat down and I got a few questions just downloaded in my mind. One was, what does sound do to the skeletal, muscular, nervous system? What does it do to the brain? does it have any value to be combined in like this kind of party, like sound system, combined with the movement system that has not just dancing, because dancing is something that we do that isn't, it's involuntary almost. We hear music, we want to move. But if we combine it with yoga, which was my modality, is there value to the vibration touching the bodies in shapes? That's one question. Second question is there an expert about this that I can find and study with? Because this is very interesting to me. I threw these questions out into the universe, and lo and behold, 2 weeks later, I have this conversation with a friend, and I tell her, I'm really interested in sound. Like this really random thing to say to your friend. Like, she's like, I know just the guy for you. Like, what? Yes, I'm putting you in touch with this guy right now. His name is Alexander Tanous. I'm like, okay. She puts me in touch with Alexander, who facilitates what he calls, this is a term that he coined, sound meditations. And he is an ethnomusicologist, a composer, and a sound researcher for over 14 years. And I went to my first sound meditation with him. And what you've experienced at Woom is kind of like the reincarnation or our kind of take on his system, which is the system of sound meditation. We call it sound experience or sound journey. We're kind of moving away from the sound meditation model because meditation has a reputation. It has like kind of thoughts attached to it.
People have a preconceived idea of what that means.
Yeah, the preconceived notion and what you should be looking like, what you should be feeling like.
Yeah.
And we want to
That's
take
a big barrier to meditation too, because a lot of people think that the purpose is to make your mind quiet, and so they get frustrated. This is I kept doing it and I still derived benefit, but it's if you think meditation is supposed to be a silent mind, you're going to have a hard time.
Exactly.
You can't make the mind silent. That's what it does, you know?
Very true. So we really lean toward journey or toward experience. It's kind of like softer.
So you don't really use the term, sound meditation.
We use meditation, but we lean toward journey or experience.
Okay.
And what we offer here is loosely based. So after that one experience that I had with Alexander, my life was changed forever. I could see how Woom would be kind of like the mecca of this practice, taking sound and creating a ceremonial setting for self-exploration, with sound being the primary tool, whether it is recorded, whether it is instrumental, or just voice pure. And I was a vocalist for so many years. And when I first experienced the toning in Alexander's meditation...
Toning, that's where the group...
Yeah, the vocal toning.
Okay.
There are many, we call it vocal meditation.
Okay.
So it's kind of, you can't really think so much when you do this, because you're engaged.
And you can't, you know what, there's no, like, you'll see in my experience, the ego will come in and be like, oh, you sound stupid.
Mm-hmm.
You get self-conscious for a second.
Yes.
And luckily I've worked on that kind of stuff. So I'm just like, I don't give a shit.
You just go for it.
Ooh, I'm doing all kinds of strange noises and whatever. I just roll with it. I do try to hit kind of either a harmony note or a unison note with the sort of drone instrument, whatever's going on there.
There's, when we are able to harmonize in a group, there is so much pleasure attached to harmony. And that's not just something that happens when we harmonize vocally. When we come in harmony with each other in general in life, there's something really pleasing about that, about the ability to intertwine, to touch each other without hurting each other, to come together, to weave in ideas. That's why collaboration is very pleasing, when two minds come together and create something new. So 2 voices, 3 voices, 40 voices coming together.
It might explain the phenomenon of the success of boy bands as well.
Oh my God. I'm so using that.
I mean, seriously, like, I mean, go back to like the Temptations or the Four Tops, like those great Motown harmony groups, or the barbershop kind of
absolutely
quartets,
and
things like
everyone
that.
has like
And the Beatles,
the Beatles
like,
even.
Yeah.
We all have our own our unique sound, and when we find our placement where we are best served, when we serve best within the group, then there's so much contentment that's attached to that. We are able to serve. I remember when I was when we were doing it in that first meditation that I attended, and I felt there was no one holding the bottom. No one was holding the bottom, and I just came
Like the low end?
The low end.
Okay.
And I came, and you know, I'm an alto, so I like to like belt and all those. And I'm like, I need to hold down the bottom. I need to help them out in the bottom. And I just went all the way to my very bottom, and I felt that I was helping people out, that I was like lifting the group up. It was really, it's like the bass. You don't
I'm a bass player. Yeah. I love bass.
When you know the bass, you don't necessarily always can detect it's not the best solo, but without it, it's flat. It's like it's out of tune. It doesn't sound good. It doesn't work. So when we realize when there's a need and you kind of enter the need, and sometimes you like go for a pleasure, it's like it's a whole journey with the voice. That's my personal favorite thing about it.
This is cool. I love it. And I had my eyes closed the other night. Obviously, I'm always tempted to get up and like Instagram. I don't want to like, you guys say like, please leave your phone outside. I'm like, I can't though, because this is kind of my job. I document cool stuff that I find to share it with people. But I also didn't want to blow the experience. But were you singing at some point?
When you were Instagramming, I was singing.
Because I didn't really get up and look. I just kind of went like a periscope with my phone, not the app periscope, but an actual periscope that comes out of the water and looks around. Because I didn't want to ruin the experience. But you have such a beautiful voice then. And I thought, God, it must be her. But then there was also... Was there recorded harmony voices with it?
It's a little gadget called a harmonizer.
Oh, sick. Okay.
It's my newest toy.
Neat.
I've only used it twice, and I'm obsessed with it.
Yeah, because I was like, is that David? I was like, no, that's like another female
But
voice.
I always sing in the
like,
end. It's like the most grounding when you return to the human voice. So we start with the human voice, and then we end with a human voice.
Cool.
So first you contribute, and then I give you what I have to kind of bring you back.
And how long, if you just did that workshop like a year ago or something, how long have you guys had this place?
A year.
Wow.
So we'll be celebrating a full year. Our soft launch was July 2016. And our grand opening was October 2016. So now we're just like coming to a full year.
Oh, that's crazy. God, because it feels very, when you come in here and just deal with you guys, it feels very established. It isn't like all hodgepodge and like, oh yeah, they just thought of this last week. I mean, it feels very, there's a solid energy here. Like you guys know what you're doing.
It started, the idea of opening a wellness center started percolating in 2014. And I told David, is like, I want to open a wellness center. And I said, give me a couple of years to think about it. And he was actually respectful because he's in the here and now. He wants to do something, he does it now. I am more, as I said before, process oriented. I take time, I'm slower. And he was respectful of that because he knew that this was going to be, if I really invest myself in it, it was going to be like a really comprehensive thing, not just another space. And exploring the senses in this kind of way was, I really wanted to find the science behind it. So studying under Alexander. So we actually, after that experience that I had with Alexander Tanous, we ended up studying under him at the New York Open Center for 8 months. And we got sound meditation practitioner training that we did with
interesting. Interesting. That's a trip. I interviewed a guy recently named Nate Martinez.
I've never experienced Nate before.
Yeah, he does Sky Ting and a few of the spots like around town. Really fascinating guy. And he's like a true musician. I mean, he's played with a lot of big artists and stuff like that. Multi-instrumentalist kind of guy. And he had some sort of certification like that too. I forget if it was maybe from the same place or different or something similar. But I thought, oh, that's interesting. I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah,
you know, it's fantastic.
I didn't know before either.
That's so in terms of opening the space here, from an entrepreneurial standpoint, has it been easier for you guys since David understands business and how to get a space, and like if he's been a restaurateur, did it make this process a bit easier because he's similar with the process of opening and running a business? In many
ways, yeah. In many ways, his experience has been such a gift because he knows how to manage the space. He knows how to manage people.
Having a brick and mortar business is not easy. I think people look from the outside like, oh, cool. Yeah, you just like pay the rent and you're good. I mean, there's so much. When you have overhead, which I'm sure, there's a lot of square footage to be in Manhattan. We're right on Bowery and Houston for those of you listening. I mean, it's not like the Upper East Side, but it's fucking expensive here. You know what I mean? This is like a really prime area in Manhattan. So it's like, we at one point were looking at getting a space for our school, and I went around and they're like, cool, everyone wants like a 5-year lease, a 7-year lease, and you're locked into that legally. And it's so expensive, the square footage, and you start running the numbers. It's like, dude, you have to be doing some serious business to even like stay afloat, let alone actually live. And, even a lifestyle business is hard, let alone building wealth from that business. So his experience has been helpful. Was it scary for you guys? I mean, did you have a backup plan, or do you have other jobs or businesses? Or this is it? So you went all in?
We're all in.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, because this is not a job. It's like our way of life. This is what we do. We go on vacation. We take instruments. We're like, we're going to go to wherever it is that we go, and we're going to facilitate a ceremony there. There's absolutely no doubt. We went to Costa Rica. We ended up meeting this amazing woman who runs a retreat center in Costa Rica, and we took her class for a few consecutive mornings, and we started talking to her. Hey, this is what we do. We have our instruments. Do you want us to do a meditation here? We do a meditation for 40 people in her community. Cool. We did one in Ibiza. We do at Burning Man. We facilitate it like left and right. So this is what we do even when we're not here. It's not a job.
Right. I totally relate to that. Yeah. Someone was asking me today about the podcast and how you make it a business and when you monetize it and stuff like that. I'm like, when you find out, let me know. I mean, it's been a year, and it's like,
it's been a year for you.
It's been a year. Yeah. June 6th was my first episode release, and I just celebrated a year this past June. And, I mean, honestly, I would do it for free. It actually costs a lot of money to produce a podcast. I don't think people realize that. The overhead every month is like between $2,500 and $3,000. I'm just, transparent about it. By the way, I have a page on my site, guys, which is lukestory.com support, and you can donate. But eventually you start getting advertisers to pay and things like that. But I'm still donating my actual time totally for free, which I'm not whining about or anything like that. I'm happy to do it because it's like what I like to do. Sitting down and talking to you is like such a treat for me. As I said in the beginning of our conversation, like coming here, I'm like, oh, I'd really love to sit down with her and just shoot the shit and learn and everything. So to be able to do that and share it with other people, to me is not really like a job either. So I relate to that. So this is not like you're all in because it's a mission. It's not just like, oh, we're going to start this cute little business that makes some money.
Right. You just want to hope, because money really is the energetic currency of the earthly plane. This is what we know, and it's also taboo. I was just talking to this money coach about the taboo of money. It's really fascinating. We don't talk about money. It used to be sex that we don't talk about. Now it's money. I don't want to ask, but they really owe me money, and I feel bad about asking. But if you start thinking about this being the energetic currency of our earthly plane, and when you invest your energetic resources, you receive energy. So let's say I give you a sound experience. You give me your money. I take this money and I buy from an organic local farmer who puts his heart and soul into the vegetables that he grows. And then he takes this money and he gives that to his local, doctor to pay for his broken arm. I don't know, something, along those lines. Yeah. So you keep that positive cycle of the currency, of the energetic currency. And we live in the world. We live in a physical world. We are here to do that. So money needs to be a spiritual tool, really, at the end of the day. So one would hope that when they do what they believe in and what they love truly and what their mission and calling is, that they will be able to live comfortably and keep on doing that. So
yeah, that's been my feeling too. And
Yeah.
now, having done this, and people are responding to it in an overwhelmingly positive sense, which is like, as I'm not surprised, but I didn't realize like that many people were gonna be into what I had to say, or just they'd have the same interest as me. It turns out a lot of people do.
you're a cool dude.
Well, thank you. And my guests are very cool too. I think one of the things that I'm a cool dude is like, I'm pretty good at finding rad people like you. I have like a beacon for conscious, really interesting, smart, fantastic people. That's a skill that I have. It's like when I walk in a room, I'm like, I see who the players are, like immediately. Players in the best sense of the word.
Sure.
Like I see those, like the power centers in culture, and you know, when I just go in a place, I'm like, I need to talk to that person. Just the intuition to know. But anyway, enough stroking my own ego. It's or you could say celebrating the gifts that nature's given me. But I do also believe that I will probably be really wealthy eventually as a result of the work that I'm doing. And I, of course, think about the money part of it, but I feel that I don't need to worry about when that part comes so much, because my heart is so deeply invested in what I do. I mean, I'm really into this, producing the content that I do and I make money, you know, with my coaching and stuff like that. It's
You
not-
coach.
Yeah, I do. It's not the podcast, but it's sort of what I've been doing for free for, you know, God, like 20 years now. And now, since I have a platform, sure, people want to work with me because they like my approach to life. And so that's starting to happen as well. But I'm not worried about it. I know that that's, you know, I'm going to write a book and I'm going to do different things and I'll probably make a shit ton of money. It'll be a blast.
Yeah.
But I really don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
But I like what you're saying there with that taboo. And it's almost like when I even said how much my show costs to produce, I was like, my little voice like, I don't think you're supposed to say that. It's like, fucking who cares? Whatever.
Yeah.
If you're listening to the show, if you want to have a podcast with the production value that mine has, which I think is pretty high, it's going to cost you.
Yeah.
You could do it way, way cheaper and just have a ghetto show, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I want to have a really professional show, and the branding and the website and social media and all that stuff. So I like actually being more open about the money conversation, because
I think that's very valuable.
it's healthier.
I think it
you know?
really is.
Anything that exists in the shadows, like you mentioned, sexuality, now in our culture, it's becoming a more overt conversation. And even people publicly discussing their past sexual trauma and things like that. I mean, I remember 10 years ago, you only talked about that at therapy. You know what I mean?
Really?
You probably wouldn't even tell your friends that you had experiences like that. Now
Very
people
true.
are on podcasts, on TV, celebrities are coming out talking about it. So if we can go there with becoming more sort of transparent and open about sex, it's so healing. And perhaps we could also heal the way that we interact with this thing we call currency in the same way, by just like, let's be open about it. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for the perspective.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So what's next for you and David? What's your vision? Like, where do you see this thing going in terms of scaling, franchise, other locations? Do you have a plan, or are you just like watching it unfold?
We have a loose plan. We have intention.
There you go. An intention. Yeah.
You know, it's been a year, so we have friends who are in the wellness fitness now. It is realm, and they, for instance, have a wellness company who has now 4 branches. And I asked them, so how did you guys start like assessing what was going on? It's like, it takes a couple of years to really see patterns and see how like to make things happen. So we have intention. We wanna expand for sure. We have some thoughts on where to go, so we may see you up in the...
Come to LA, please.
Yeah.
I know I'll bring all my knucklehead friends. I mean, we love this kind of stuff. So I'll
good.
roll in with like a bunch of 30-something dudes that are like into consciousness and all this stuff.
That's the kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's the kind of people. Yeah.
So you're exploring and kind of putting feelers out for what might be next.
So definitely having New York as a home base and keep expanding, because we feel like the people here, not only do they need this kind of escape from whatever it is that's going on out there. It's very intense.
Yeah.
The sonic diet that we are
dude.
on here in the city is harsh.
It's hardcore, man.
It's really hardcore.
I finally figured out on my last trip to walk around with headphones on. I don't listen to music. I just have like the noise canceling headphones on.
Yeah. It's
I
really
tried
intense.
earplugs and then I almost got hit by a car. So I
Yeah.
stopped the earplugs. So I have the noise canceling. But this place is so stimulating.
It's really stimulating.
It's hardcore.
It's really intense. There's a lot going on. And it's very goal oriented. So we want to kind of change the paradigm a little bit, and instead of goal oriented, have it be journey oriented for us, for our own sanity, really. Having said that, the people who come to the city are very high vibration. The people who come here, even if they don't live here, people who frequent New York City, or the people who live here for that matter, are very advanced beings. They drink this up. They want to explore the self in many ways, for self-improvement and also for exploration for the sake of exploration. So we feel like there's still a lot to explore here in the city, but we're interested in LA for sure. We know that there's a big community of conscious people out there who we would love to meet. Tulum, Mexico is another place that I have my eye on. I haven't been there, but
me either. I'm like the only dude in LA or person in LA that's into this kind of scene that doesn't go there all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just
it's so
weird.
Close to
and
me.
what's crazy is I've traveled all over Mexico, like my
But
whole
not
life.
Tulum.
Yeah, it's this weird little pocket. Like I feel like I belong there and should be there by all.
Exactly. I feel the same. I feel like I feel called there. So I really want to.
That's cool.
Maybe beginning of next year to go out there and check it out and see.
Yeah. In LA, like people judge you if you don't go there.
Really?
They're like, "Oh, you haven't been to Tulum? Oh, please." You know, it's
Really?
like, it's very like the spiritual shishi spot.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah, for sure.
But I do know a stylist that I used to work with, and I know married a guy who owns a restaurant and I think a little hotel there.
What's it called?
Paso. He's an Italian guy. You know what? I can't remember.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember. Her name's Daria Hines.
Okay.
She's the daughter of the late, great
Hines.
Gregory Hines. Yeah. And so, she's a fantastic person. And we used to cross paths a lot. And she's always like, dude, you got to come to Tulum. Like for years now. I'm like, I will.
Maybe we'll be there at the same time.
Right? I need to get down there. Well, I know in Virgin flies to Cancun too. And
That's where you go.
And I always have an abundance of miles because my business card is a Virgin card, which I think will soon be Alaska Airlines, unfortunately, probably. But I have miles. I could go. I just need like a good reason. So maybe you guys are that reason. Okay, so I want to ask you this. Do you still like living in New York City? I mean, is it...
Loaded question. I do. Speaking of addictions, I love this place. I feel like it's Burning Man year round. If I decide tomorrow morning that I am a chicken and I walk around with feathers on my back and go all day long, people around will not give a fuck because every other person is crazier than me. So I like to be in a place where I can reinvent myself every 5 minutes and that it will be okay. That I'm going to be 33, married for 2 years, and no one is asking me, so when are you having kids now?
Right.
I like having the freedom of not being asked any questions, of being in a city full of bachelors who are 55 years old, people who have been partying since Studio 54 and I still see at the same parties that I go to. I like this. It's a bubble. I don't feel like that we're living a delusional life in any way, but I feel like if I have a place in the world where I can be myself and reinvent myself at any given moment, I should probably keep it.
I get that.
But I also want to have like another place of residence. So at one point I want to be able to be living, I won't say bi-coastal because I don't know if LA is my place, but I will say if I had like an island house or even like an upstate New York, like a
getaway, a cabin.
Yes, but there's like a place, like a specific place that I'm thinking of.
Woodstock?
Yes, thank you. My God.
I don't even.
Hippie.
Yeah, I don't even know. When people say they go to upstate New York, I've been to the Omega Institute, which is in Rhinebeck. I think that's upstate, but I have no idea like where the Hamptons are upstate.
Hamptons?
Like
You don't know?
No, all this stuff is a mystery. I've never traveled around New York.
You've never been to the
I
Hamptons?
literally just come to Manhattan and then I leave. I've been to Brooklyn like a couple times. I've never been to New Jersey. I've never been to Long Island.
Okay, you're not missing anything there. But okay, so the Hamptons.
I've never been anywhere.
The Hamptons is Long Island.
Okay. And that's what you see when you fly out of JFK. You kind of go over that, right?
Correct.
Okay. I'm looking at this puppy right now. You're such a sweetie. I wish the podcasters could see you and vibe with you.
He's so cute. You can add a photo of him.
So you want to maybe you'd be better suited to hang in New York if you had like a getaway place. This is how I feel in LA. Like for us, it would be Palm Springs or Ojai or Lake Arrowhead or even Santa Barbara. Even Topanga is almost like kind of out of the city enough. And I'm kind of with you there. I still love the vibrancy and the community of the city, but after a while, it's like, wow, okay.
It's overwhelming.
The traffic, the noise, the
it's
EMFs,
consuming.
the cell towers, the Wi-Fi, just the constant like barrage of pollution in the air and the sound. It's just like, wow. But I'm also, I mean, what you say, you're 32?
32.
32. Yeah, I'm about to turn 47 and I've been living in Hollywood for 29 years, like right in the middle of the city. So I think I'm reaching that point too where I'm like, okay.
So what are you thinking?
I don't know. It's so hard because all the people that I love all live in that city. It's my community.
Yeah.
It's like my yoga, my everything. I'm very much a creature of habit.
Yeah.
I go to like the same 5 places every single day.
Yeah.
You know? And so
I really feel that.
I'd have to build a new community in a smaller town somewhere, you know.
Even going on vacation started getting challenging just to leave the comfort of the familiar. But then when I started traveling, especially this summer, I was away for a month, which hasn't happened in a really long time. I just started, there's a love connection happening between you and Shapiro.
Totally. Me and Shapiro are vibing.
You're
hey,
so
buddy.
vibing.
Hey, buddy.
I just want to explore everywhere. And coming back here is convenient. So not having to commit to anything, really.
Yeah,
this is like the center of the universe for me.
How about this? Do you think that is it just me, or is this conscious community, like all you kind of quasi-hippie, new age people have just suddenly descended on New York City, or there's this awakening here? Because either I was like blind when I started coming here around 10 years ago, or this shit didn't exist. Like I swear, I was a vegetarian at the time. There was like 1 or 2 vegetarian restaurants. There was like a couple traditional, like proper hatha yoga studios, Jivamukti, another one. I mean, I couldn't find organic food. I couldn't find vegetarian food. I didn't see anyone wearing like, you know, your little hippie garb you have on. Like there wasn't meditation places, sound experiences. Was I missing it and it was just underground? Or is there like an explosion of consciousness here right now?
But think about it. Communications have changed dramatically over the last decade.
Right.
We are exposed to everything. We have access to all cultures, all traditions, and every part of the world. This is a revolution. So obviously the revolution is starting in New York City, like every revolution.
Right.
I think this place draws such powerful people, and then the powerful people are here. The powerful people look around and listen to the news and look at what's going on in the world. They say that by 2048, America is going to be like 80% vegan. Did you hear that?
Oh.
I'm messing the statistic up, but something along those lines.
Yeah, if it continues on its current trajectory.
So we're moving in a direction. So there's a lot of darkness happening, but whenever there's a big shadow, you bet your ass there's a big light shining. Yeah. So it's all a give and take, I think.
Because I'm having so much fun discovering people like you here, and I'm going, was that like, am I just like catching a wave right now, or has the wave always been
10
here?
10 years ago, I was 22 in acting school, not knowing how to get through the day.
Right. Because I've been into this stuff for 20 years. So I'm like, I think if it was here, I would have found it. And now I'm here only another week, and I'm like, oh my God, it's not enough time. I want to record more shows. I think I have 6 or 7 more podcasts over the next week I'm doing here in the city. And then when I interviewed Sade Simone today, he's like, oh, you need this person and that person and that person.
Who did he tell you to interview?
I wrote them down.
Okay.
I don't remember offhand, but I already have my own list of like some of the heavy hitters. Okay, cool. And so I'm like, I need to come out here for like, maybe it's almost like I need to live here part of the time so I can do my mission here and in LA. Hey, why not?
Why not?
But I've never thought of it because here was always just grueling to me because I wasn't finding this type of community.
Right.
So now I'm like, God, I'm meeting so many.
It's so potent.
And I don't really have a lot of friends here because I worked in fashion and I don't like hang out in those circles anymore.
Yeah.
So I've had to build like a new New York community.
So many people in the fashion world are becoming more and more conscious.
That's what Saw was telling me owned a magazine here, founded a fashion magazine and stuff. He was telling me about all kinds of people. Yeah. And I was like, wow, cool.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here. There's the Big Quiet and Medi Club that was created by Jesse Israel and
right. He spoke on
Lauren Billy
at an event the other night that I spoke at Whitma Live. Yeah.
So they're doing great things and
that's such a great name, The Big Quiet.
The Big Quiet.
And he was telling me, if not the world, then the city's largest like group meditation, something to
and
that
they do
effect?
little circles and they do medium circles. So the little circles I think are about 12 people, and then the big ones are called Medi Club. They're about 200 people, and then they have the mass meditations that are 1,000 people.
Wow.
We have.
Where do they do that? In a park or something?
So no, they're always at like amazing monuments in New York City. So they had one in Oculus. They had one in Central Park. They had one, I think, in Madison Square Garden recently.
Oh, wow.
So they do those. You have Inscape.
Yeah. That place is dope.
Super dope.
Yeah.
A good friend of ours who started it.
What's his name?
His name is Kajak.
I'm trying to find that guy. I've been emailing his people.
I'll get you in touch.
They got back to me, and then they were like, "Oh, he's out of town." Then I've been hitting them up again, and I can't get through the gatekeeper right now.
Okay, I can.
Great. Because he was another guy. He was the founder of Intermix.
That's right.
Another fashion.
Absolutely. And Jesse Israel started in the music industry.
Oh, cool.
And, on the other hand, you have all these things that have existed in New York City for decades, like the Kabbalah Center, that's been an establishment where Madonna has been coming to for like 15 years. And the gospel of the Kabbalah Center is not a Jewish gospel. I mean, it stems from Jewish mysticism, but you get all the people from like all around the scope of, all kinds of people come there to absorb spirituality in its really pure form. You should definitely go check it out if you've never been.
That's funny. I read a book by Michael Berg.
Mm-hmm.
Becoming Like God, I think it was called. This is going back a long time. And it was right around the time I was starting to just discover the nature of the ego and like learn about concepts like that.
They're very good at explaining that.
Yeah. And he called it the desire to receive for the self alone.
Yeah. Satan is the ego.
No way. Oh, interesting. So yeah, I was like,
and you know what the Satan's one mission in life is?
To get more shit?
To
get more stuff?
No.
Power?
No.
What?
To make you think he doesn't exist.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, well, anyway, I really resonated with that book, and I think it was like a beginner's guide to Kabbalah kind of thing. I mean, it's not that deep of a book, but it had a profound impact on me because it contextualized at least that aspect of ego that is self-driven and self-centered and rapacious and always trying to get. And I could identify with that because I spent a lot of my life from that energy perspective, So yeah, Kabbalah is something I don't know a lot about, but I'm definitely curious.
It's really powerful.
Yeah, it's cool stuff.
Yeah. So there's so many things that have been going on here and so many like subdivisions of the path.
Yeah.
Oh, the path is another thing that started in New York City.
Oh, really? What's that?
So the path is a meditation group. Is another meditation group.
This is crazy. I swear to God. Like, this is so funny.
So there's so much going on.
That's funny. Yeah. So I guess I do need to be here more.
Well, little.
Yeah.
For a while.
I mean, I've been coming here 3 to 4 times a year with my school, but starting in 2018, we will no longer have live classes. So I'm going to have to come here on my own volition and be self-supporting and self-motivated, but I don't know. Now I'm like making friends and meeting so many fantastic people here. And just for podcast guests, I mean, there's an endless supply here. So I'm definitely going to have to come back. All right. So let's go ahead and wrap it up then. It's another late night. Last night I recorded a 3-hour podcast with the world's youngest biohacker. This kid, Matt, he's just turned 18. And I was like, oh, we'll probably do an hour. Like, I'll kind of get to the bottom of his expertise and we can cover it in an hour. Like 3 hours in, we could have kept going, but it was like after midnight. So I'm not going to do that to you or to myself again.
I didn't even feel the time pass.
I didn't either. That's when we have a good show.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I look at the downloads, kind of the ratings of the shows, you could say, in terms of popularity. And I know which ones are going to be high ranked, not based on, oddly enough, the fame of the guest and their notoriety in these circles, but more so on like how much of a flow state is created between us.
Yeah.
Because those are the ones when there's no time, we're like, I guess we should stop, but we don't really have to, but we could easily keep going. But it's been really an absolute pleasure. And
it has been.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so grateful that we're able to do this. And especially in your space, you guys listening, as I've alluded to, we are, we're recording this in Woom, and there's these fantastic projections going on. And there's just a lot of good juju in this room. There's gongs and candles, and it's just ooh, now we have fire. What a great way to end it, too, for the Instagram and Facebook Live feeds. Yeah, fire. Very metal right now. So
bringing full circle.
I love it. That's great.
Let's take a brief intermission to tell you about the upcoming launch of my brand new 90-day lifestyle design coaching program, where you can have the opportunity to work one-on-one with me. Just go to lukestory.com/coaching to apply for a free 15-minute assessment call. We're going to have a quick chat to discover what your blocks are and find out how we can move you through them. Using my 20 years of experience in the fields of health and personal development, I'm going to guide you through my system of revolutionary mental, physical, and emotional transformation. This program is fully immersive. It's a deep dive into my nature-based philosophy of personal optimization. So based on your personal needs, we're going to work together to map out a blueprint for creating the happy and healthy lifestyle that you deserve, as well as a very practical approach to spirituality that you can actually carry into your relationships, your career, and your future. Here's the deal though, space for this program is very limited. I'm not even joking. I can only take on 5 clients per month, period. So go to lukestory.com/coaching to apply for your free 15-minute consultation with me. And now back to the interview.
So in closing, I got a couple things I want to ask you. First one is a 3-part question. So I've learned so much from you about your life, your practices, your journey, this city, and as our audience, who have been 3 teachers or teachings that have affected you profoundly that you might recommend to the audience? Could be a person, book, philosophy, film, anything.
Okay, that's a good one. So I will start with the Kabbalah Center.
Awesome. I think that's a first. I don't think anyone's referenced Kabbalah as one of their 3 yet.
It was the beginning of my journey. I don't go there regularly, but I used to go regularly every Tuesday to have my dose for the week, something to think about, something to work through. I think the Kabbalah Center here in New York is spectacular, and they do a wonderful job. If you're in New York City, then go to the Kabbalah Center. Find yourself a teacher. Start working through the muck of your own being. I think it's enlightening to take a look in the mirror.
I was curious, as an Israeli, you may or may not know the answer to this, but so as I understand Kabbalah, it's like this branch of Jewish mysticism.
Right.
What do kind of regular Orthodox Jews think about Kabbalah? Is it something that they think is kind of weird, or is everyone cool with it?
Are you talking about Kabbalah, or are you talking about Kabbalah Center?
No, Kabbalah as itself as a teaching, as a practice.
No, till about 20 or so years ago, Kabbalah was not to be studied because the teachings were like a secret.
Okay.
They were like, it's the secrets of the universe.
Okay.
that's the...
So the powers within the more Orthodox branches of the Jewish faith were they're like, no, we're not going to tell everyone about this. This is the chronic stuff.
We're not going to tell anyone about this. This is not to be messed around with. This should be taken very seriously. And what other, places like the Kabbalah Center are doing, what you would learn in a Kabbalah 1 is not what you would learn after 20 years of study. So they give you the surface, but it's kind of like for the people in the beginning. And then when you really invest yourself, you can go deep into the teachings. The teachings are very, very deep. They're infinite as the universe. It's the secrets of the universe.
Cool. Awesome.
Really. So
awesome.
It's really, really deep stuff.
Awesome. I was just curious about that because I don't know much about Kabbalah or the Jewish faith in general. I mean, I have Jewish friends, but I know they do a lot of stuff with their family. There's they're always like my friend James. Every time I want to hang out, he's
it's
like, yeah, it's like, well, no, we're doing Friday nights. He's off. Definitely Friday nights are out. He's doing the family thing. But one thing I have noticed about it, and this totally is deviating from your answer, but which I think is really beautiful, is my friend James. I mean, he's the one with the most, I guess, practicing Jewish family that I know. And they have the most wonderful, they're such good people, and they all, everyone gets together all the time, and he has this tight-knit community, in his family. And I just think it's so beautiful because I didn't really my family's just all divorces, all disjointed, we had a few Christmases here and there when I was a kid where there's some uncles and grandma was there, but it's I don't even know what that's like to have a big family where everyone's close and eat meals together. It's really a cool thing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying only Jewish people have that, but because the religion seems to be sort of
prominent,
imbued with so many activities and stuff.
True.
It's just inherent to that, if your family's that religion,
activities,
you guys are going to
ritual.
You're going to hang a lot. Which is cool. So, okay, so that's interesting. And that kind of reminds me in terms of that, the esoteric knowledge base that's whoa, we don't, we're not just going to put this out everywhere. It's kind of you have to sort of find it and then all that. It's very much like Kundalini yoga, when Yogi Bhajan brought that here, it said that, or he said that he was warned that he would be cursed if he brought that teaching to the West and made it publicly available. And he was like, F that, I don't believe in this caste system and this hierarchy of information. And he came and taught it to a bunch of burned out hippies in Los Angeles, essentially. And it's sort of now this worldwide style of yoga that's very profoundly popular and growing in popularity. But it was he was kind of forbidden from letting these secrets out. So I like that kind of stuff that, is not really supposed to be out according to someone, and then it emerges in our culture and is useful important to people. Yeah.
And how Jews are referred to as the chosen people. I didn't
know that.
The chosen people. And I feel like the reason why the Jews are referred to that, and it's a very controversial term, right? The chosen people. God chose those people. I feel like the only thing that we have really as Jews is holding of this ancient language that allows us to learn these teachings from the source. So the Hebrew letters hold energy within them. And according to Kabbalah, the construct of the universe, the DNA of the universe is within the Hebrew letters. It's
whoa, sick.
Sick stuff.
That's neat. Mm-hmm. That's really cool.
So really having this, I actually spoke to Naveen Mishan, who's the creator of Katona Yoga.
I want to interview her.
Okay. That's noted.
Oh, you know her too? That's amazing. When I interviewed Abby, I was like, it can't get any better than this. She's genius. She's like, you need to interview her. I guess I could consider asking her for an intro. Yeah. I think why I didn't pursue her was she in
Bedford Hills.
Yeah.
And you should go up there.
It's a little bit of a ways, but be fun to practice with her while she's still kicking,
She'll be kicking for
still teaching.
She will be teaching for a very long time.
She will? Okay, good. Because they've been at it for 25 years or something.
She is no joke.
Yeah.
So she's Jewish. And when I first came to see her for the first time, I wanted to get her blessing when we opened this place.
Yeah.
And I told her a little bit about Kabbalah, and she's like, listen, you need to dive in from where you understand, from what you know. I'm paraphrasing badly, right? If I knew the Hebrew alphabet, my practice would be Kabbalah, but I know numbers. That's why I use geometry and the magic square. And really, there are many, there's a Hebrew saying, there are many faces to the Torah. Torah is like the scripture, right? There are many faces to it. Shivim panim, 70 faces. Because it's all one and the same. The Quran, the Old Testament, the New Testament, the Gita, all of those things They have the same source. We just have to find and mathematics is also the exact same thing. If you really go down the rabbit hole of math, you find spirituality. So all of these things we kind of like, they're different windows into the same house, and we just need to find where it fits, kind of like Alice in Wonderland. Where do we get to the house from?
I've never heard that, different windows into the same house. I'm totally taking that.
Take it.
Because this is like we're making this the longest answer to this question yet on the podcast, but I don't care. It's beautiful. Like, let's go. Have you found in your life that a certain teaching like serves you for a period of time,
yes.
and then it's almost like you get off the train at that stop and you get on a new train, but all the trains are going to the same place?
Yeah.
Whoa, there's one. Mm-hmm. That's a good one too.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the tracks eventually like converge, at the source of enlightenment or
yes.
whatever. Because I read the Kabbalah book and I was like really into that, and I'm like, oh, this is the thing. And then you kind of move past that. Then it was Eckhart Tolle. Then it was Wayne Dyer. Then it's Deepak Chopra. Then it's this teacher, that teacher, this one. And I think the only one that I never kind of, to this day, it's been, God, many, many years, was a teacher that I still read constantly and listen to his tapes constantly, and that was a guy named David Hawkins, who wrote a book called Power versus Force. I was actually asking David the other night, I was like, do you read his stuff? He's like, no, I never heard of it, because he was a teacher of non-duality. He was a white American guy who was a psychiatrist here in New York actually for 50 years, but was also a spiritual teacher and just really trippy guy. All right, so back to your other two. So we've got Kabbalah.
So
what are your other
Kabbalah,
two teachers
Center.
or teachings that you want to recommend?
So that's one. And if I had to choose a book to start on this Kabbalah journey, I would say, what's the name of that book? Well, anything by the Rav Berg, really. So that's the creator of the Kabbalah Center. And then
have you heard of this guy, Michael Berg?
Michael Berg is his son.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That's the guy that wrote the book, Becoming Like God. Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So
I mean, Berg is like not an uncommon name.
Right.
I thought,
but Michael
probably
Berg,
just a coincidence.
Michael Berg is the Rav Berg's son.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool. Is this Rav Berg character still around?
He's not.
Oh, okay.
He passed away, I think, in 2013.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The second one, I would say, is Many Lives, Many Masters. I'm giving my entry, my points of entry.
That's
so
great.
not the advanced versions of things.
Dude, listen, our listeners, are at all different levels of research and experience and understanding, but they really follow up on these things.
Yeah,
so we put them in the show notes, and like we link to them in the Amazon link or wherever it's to be found. And like I get emails from people like, hey, so and so talked about this. I got it. I'm doing it. It's working.
Yeah.
Thank you. So it's people really will follow up. So it doesn't matter at what level, they'll find the access point that's appropriate.
Okay, so you know what? The understanding of past lives and the immortality of the soul has had a huge effect on me. And for this one, I'll recommend two books. Book one is Many Lives, Many Masters by Brian L. Weiss, Dr. Brian Weiss. And the second one is The Journey of Souls, or Journey of Souls without the, by Dr. Michael Newton. And each of them explores the idea of reincarnation and the immortality of souls from a different perspective. And start with Many Lives, Many Masters.
Awesome.
And then progress from there.
Awesome.
The second thing I will recommend, the third thing rather, is the teachings.
I was thinking, how many second ones is she going to take?
Right.
I'll give it to her.
Half an hour later. And the second one, so the third one is the teachings of my teacher, Alexander Tanous. Go on his website, soundmeditation.com, and read everything that he writes. His research is really profound. Talking about the relationship between sound and consciousness. He kind of like pulls on different threads about that. So his approach is multidisciplinary. Eastern philosophic, Western scientific, and cultural shamanic. So he kind of draws from all of those references. And when I say science, I'm like the mathematics of sound and the mathematics of emotion, and like really deep, fascinating, crazy, amazing things, mind-altering.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Thank you for the
He
recommendations.
should be on your dream list.
Would you give us recommendations about what you mentioned the other night? Because Nate Martinez mentioned this, and I think we put it in those show notes. But that, what do you call it? Schematics or
cymatics.
Cymatics. You just tell people what.
Cymatics.
Okay.
It is the science behind the effect of sound vibration over matter. So when you vibrate metal plates in different frequencies and place some kind of matter, either a powder or a liquid on top of them, with the increasing of the frequency, you get more complex, respectively, geometric shapes within the matter. It's insane.
It's mind-blowing stuff.
Mind-blowing
so
stuff.
if you guys didn't hear Nate talking about that, now you know. And you can just Google YouTube videos on this stuff.
That.
It's fucking
it's amazing.
It's so you look at that, and that is proof that I won't necessarily go so far as say, oh, that's proof that there's a God, but that's proof that we actually have no clue what's going on in the universe.
We have no
that
idea.
Shit is some alien weird stuff.
It's alien weird stuff, and we are made of at least 60% water. So when we absorb sound, this shit happens to our cells.
Right.
We listen really from all cells of our body. So when you hear the term sound healing, you know that this is not like some kind of healer coming and banging a bowl over your head and here you're healed, but it's more of healing takes place because there's a recomposition of the matter that you are, infused with the spirit.
Well said. That's fantastic. You're so dope. This is going to be a great episode. Actually, it's going to be 2 episodes now that I'm looking at the timer. So we will now be at the end of part 2, those listening. So thank you so very much. Last thing we do on the show is we allow you an opportunity to suggest any of your own links, promote your social media website. Where can people go and find you and your work, and where do you want to point them?
So Woom Center is the handle on Instagram is Woom Center. The website is Woom Center. It's WOOM Center. And you can find me there somewhere, weaved in. You'll find me on social media, I'm sure, if you look well enough.
Great. And I wanted to ask you guys, when you named it Woom, I mean, I'm assuming there was some reference to the mother's womb. Did you just spell it differently just to be cute, or was there any other significance?
So I was...
Because it has the word woo in it.
Right.
Like woo-woo, too.
That's true. It also has the word om in it.
Oh, trippy. I didn't catch that.
But when I was... my sister, Eleanor, who's also our branding and design...
Oh, and you guys do a great job with that, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, very cool.
So, yeah, she's really good.
That's what's really dope about sort of this new spiritual consciousness movement is everyone's really on top of the branding, and it looks aesthetically pretty and approachable, which...
We didn't want anything... We wanted to stay non-denominational. It was really important to us to not be tied in with anything. So the model is like an inclusive model.
Yeah.
You want to bring Hinduism in here? Sure. You want to bring science in here? Absolutely. Judaism, Christianity, Islam, all of them welcome if they remain in this kind of realm of inclusivity.
Yeah. So womb, the word, the name.
So I was talking to my sister and I was telling her, we're like, I don't have let's talk, let's brainstorm through a name. And she said, we can go a few different directions. We can title something, or we can go with a word that doesn't exist and you bring it, and this actually ties to what we just did. You bring a new word into life, like Google, which is now a verb. You Google stuff, right?
Right.
So which direction would you like to go? And I'm like, I kind of like the idea of making up a new word and making it a thing. And then she's like, okay, so just start telling me about what this place in. And I just start talking, and I'm like, it would be like an incubator for consciousness, and it would be like a container, like a womb that you come out of it a little bit differently and you can explore self. It's very safe. It's like nothing comes in, nothing comes out. It's safe. You're protected inside. She's like, hold on, womb.
That's great.
I'm like, I can't call I can't call a place a womb. WOMB. I want to throw up right now.
You might be hard pressed to get like alpha males in a place called womb.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
So she's like, wait.
Or maybe not. Maybe they're like, yeah, I want to. That's where that's where I spend my time trying to get back to.
No. They want to go back to someplace else.
Yeah, I get it.
Not that deep.
I get it.
They don't want to go that deep.
that was a slight innuendo there. I always joke like us guys, we spend the first 9 months trying to get out of one and the rest of our life trying to get back in.
Absolutely.
Cha-ding, bong, boom. So yes.
So womb, WOOM. And then we started realizing how it's the masculine and the feminine, the W and M. They mirror each other,
cool.
Man, woman.
Right.
The OO, so it's woo moo, and if it's like a mirror image. It's one of those you can flip the name around, and it still remains the same word.
Yeah.
It has woo in it. It has om in it. It has like an open-ended in it. It looks beautiful, and when you kind of meld all of the things together, you get a sound vibration. You know how you take the W and the M together and they become like frequency.
A sound wave, right. That's dope. Wow. That's funny. It was just an afterthought to kind of ask you that. It wasn't even in the plan, but there's a lot to that. Yeah. You guys scored.
Yeah, we did.
Coming up with a good name for a business or just an
really,
idea, it's hard.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard. So good job. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
What a lovely evening. Very great way to spend a Sunday night. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I can't wait. I'm going to really consider getting back. Was it next Saturday, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, Saturday
30th,
night. All right,
yeah.
I'm putting it on the calendar. I intend to make it here. And thank you so much for doing what you do and for being on the show.
Thank you for having me and for doing what you do.
Okay, my psychedelic cosmonauts, that brings part 2 with Elian Zach to a close. I want to thank you so much for joining us. What a fantastic woman, right? I had a great time sitting down and talking to her. It's always a pleasure for me to do my intros and outros because I go back through and I skim the interviews and reminisce about what went down. And that was just a really fantastic time. And what a gracious lady to sit down and share all of her knowledge with us. So listen, man, if you're in New York City, don't forget to go check out the Woom Center. This place is insane. It's one of the coolest hangs ever. Go to one of Elian and David's sound experiences. I think they have them on, well, they have them all the time, but I think the ones that I was going to were on Friday night, if I'm not mistaken. And listen, man, bring a friend, go check it out. You will not regret it. You're going to trip balls in the best sense possible. Thank you so much for joining me, man. It means a lot to move into 2018 and to be able to keep delivering these episodes. I have some great stuff in store for you. Next Tuesday, I'm dropping an episode with Dr. Dan Pompa, recorded out here in California at the Bulletproof Conference. And Dan and I talk about the safe and effective ways that you can detox your body, which is something, of course, I'm really into. So that's next Tuesday. If you don't want to miss that bomb-ass episode, here's what you do. Click subscribe on your player so each time I put out an episode, it just gets automatically and magically uploaded from cyberspace onto your device or computer. That way you will never miss an episode of the Lifestylist Podcast. And that, my friends, is how we do it. I'll see you Tuesday. And don't forget to check out my friends at Clear Light Sauna by going to healwithheat.com or calling them at 800-317-5070. If you drop my name, you're going to save $450, get a massive free shipping hookup, and also a free ergonomic backrest to use in your sauna. Now, if you want to know why I use an infrared sauna, here's a brief list of the benefits, okay? Weight loss and increased metabolism, muscle pain relief, immune system support, massive detoxification, improves the appearance of my skin, eases joint pain and stiffness, and most of all, stress and fatigue reduction. In fact, after most of these recordings, and I'm being totally straight up, what I do is I preheat my sauna and I get in right when I'm done with one of these sessions. So again, go to healwithheat.com, use my name, and they're going to hook you up. Really good people over there. They'll be really excited to hear from you.